Like, comment, and subscribe for more content. What's cooking, good looking? Welcome back to the channel. So, Season 3 of Street Fighter 6 is officially here. Kind of. Technically, Season 3 started a couple weeks ago when they dropped Elena in the game. I don't know why Capcom does this, but they did the exact same thing last year, right? Akuma was the final character of Season 1, and with him dropping in the game, they gave us the Season 2 patch with him being added. I don't know why they did that. Listen, I know it's really confusing, but for some reason, Capcom has decided that that's how they're going to do their seasons. But we haven't gotten any Season 3 content yet, right? The first character of Season 3 is Sagat. He drops later during the tail end of the summer, right? So before we get Sagat, I wanted to take a look back at Season 2, look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and assign it a grade. I did the same thing with Season 1. So really quick, guys, before we get to it, do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe if you guys like fighting games, if you guys like Capcom stuff. Help your boy out, I would appreciate it. But now that all the pleasantries are out of the way, I'll be honest with you guys, I'm a harsh grader, okay? We all had that one teacher in school, okay? Listen, I grade on a curve, alright? So first, we're going to start with the characters, right? The first character of Season 2 was Bison, right? And Bison was really interesting because the hype of Bison coming back, I don't know if that hit the way Capcom thought it was going to hit. Because, like, yeah, it was kind of cool, you know, oh, dude, Bison's back. Okay. But also, he just died in the last game. So, like, the impact wasn't... I don't think it hit like how Capcom thought. I will say, design-wise, Street Fighter 6 Bison, mwah, he looks awesome. I love the way Bison looks in this game. This might be my favorite in Bison design, period. I think he looks so cool, man. And for that first, like, week and a half, you know, from his reveal to him being dropped in the game, because, like, the turnover of that was insane. They revealed his trailer, and then not too long after that, I think it was within a 2-week time span, Bison was in the game already, right? It was like 3 weeks between Akuma and Bison. Insanity right there. And that first couple, you know, that first week, you know, we were kind of rocking with Bison, right? We're like, okay, cool. You know, he plays like a mix between Street Fighter 5 Bison and, like, you know, a classic Bison, like a Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter 2 Bison, right? He's got that Bison neutral, you know? Bison, he plays really... He's always been a really weird character. But people that play Bison, they love playing Bison, right? You gotta play that Bison neutral, that Bison nooch, right? I compare playing Bison to, like, he's like operating a train, right? Especially in Street Fighter 5. He was like a bullet train in that game. Once Bison started, you know, he got moving, dude, it was really difficult to stop him from doing things. Street Fighter 6 Bison, he's still that, but, like, to a lesser extent, right? He doesn't have the teleport dash that Bison had in Street Fighter 5, but he has Drive Rush, though, right? So he's still a train, right? He's still doing knee presses across the screen, you know, and playing Bison is really interesting because, like, I don't think it really matters, for the most part, who you're fighting. You're kind of just doing your Bison thing, right? And, like, he's really hard to counter unless you know how to fight Bison. And that's the thing, right? So, unfortunately for Bison, as cool as he is in this game, by the way, this dude just shits out damage. He does so much damage. Bison, he was really easy to figure out, right? To figure out what was good with Bison, it did not take a rocket scientist, right? And then, like, he became a blight on the competitive scene. People hated seeing Bison show up. Like, he was the Akuma of this season. He was just overpowered and strong for completely different reasons compared to Akuma, right? Bison was just a hard character to stop, right? And people just hated seeing Bison show up. Me personally, I kind of rock with it. I do kind of like having Bison be this strong ass character in Street Fighter 6, even though he is annoying to fight. But, you know, once you figure out how to fight Bison, it's like a dance, right? Like, you know what you're supposed to be doing, right? So, Bison, he was a strong start to the season, but, like, let's just say that Terry was the next character coming out, and people were clamoring for Terry, right? Let's just put it that way. I'm not going to say Bison sucked by the end of that. It's just that people were ready for the next character, right? And now that we're on Terry, let's talk about Terry. Because Terry, technically, if we want to get technical, Terry Bogard is the very first guest character in the Street Fighter series. And you're probably like, oh, dude, Cap, what about Rival Schools? What about Final Fight? Technically, those games are owned by Capcom. So I don't consider those guest characters, right? There were no business decisions made to get Akira or Cody or Guy in a Street Fighter game. You know what I mean? Like, and then on top of that, recently Capcom, they've kind of fused all of their games into like one universe, right? All of the Capcom games seemingly are taking place in the same universe, right? Or at least most of them, right? So Terry Bogard being the first guest character, it was very poetic, right? Because, you know, Terry and Mai, who we're going to talk about soon, they fit so well, right? Terry, he plays like how Terry would play in Street Fighter 6. I know that's not very inside of, but it's just, he plays exactly how you would think, right? Power Wave, Drive Rush. There you go. That's Terry Bogard, guys. And it's really funny because when they dropped Terry initially, the first couple days Terry was in the game, people were just complaining nonstop. They couldn't figure him out. He was really hard to fight against for some reason. And then by the end of that first week, people were like, oh, that's how you fight Terry. Dude, Terry is garbage. And the switch up between that first and second week was really entertaining, right? People figured out that Terry, he wasn't actually that good. You know, he was a very surface level character. Thankfully, halfway through the season, there was a patch. They did buff Terry, and they brought him kind of to the same level as like Luke and Ryu, right? Not Ryu currently, right? Currently, Ryu is like the strongest character in the game. But like, you know, in that like solid low A tier, high B tier, that mid tier section, right? So Terry wasn't doing too bad by the end of all things, you know? Following Terry, we got Mai, right? Mai Shiranui, she's also a guest character from SNK, right? And this might be a hot take, but I feel like having two guest characters, having Terry and Mai, it kind of cheapened the hype of having a guest character, the first ever guest character in a Street Fighter game. You know what I mean? I feel like maybe we should have only gotten one of them, right? Or maybe save Mai to Season 3 or Terry to Season 3. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But just having 2 for 1 in a season that only had 4 characters, I feel like that kind of killed some of the hype there, right? Mai, however, visually, oh my goodness, man. Ooh-wee. Oh my god. I just like looking at her. Not to be weird or anything. I just like looking at her. I like seeing her in motion, okay? Now, this is no surprise to anyone who actually plays Street Fighter 6. Mai has been terrorizing people. Literally since she dropped in the game. Mai has been one of the best characters consistently, right? And that first, for Mai, I feel like the turnaround, it was I don't know, dude. It didn't hit immediately. When she first dropped, people were saying that she was garbage, right? And then seemingly overnight, she was like just an unstoppable problem. Me personally, I like the way Mai was designed in Street Fighter 6. Her level 1, it gives her access to these like fire stocks, right? And then using these fire stocks, it powers up her special moves, right? Listen, man, you know me. I'm a fire dude. I love stuff like that. Unfortunately, this is the unfortunate thing. Mai was so good that she didn't even really need to use her fire stocks, right? So rarely people used her level 1, right? Like, honestly, most Mai players didn't even use these fire stocks, right? And I feel like that was a flaw in her design, right? That they made her so good that she didn't even need to use a key part of her toolkit. You know what I mean? Recently, Mai, she did get nerfed, right? How is that going to affect her? We're not sure, right? We're not sure. So now that we're done talking about Mai, I wanted to couple the two S and K characters together. But technically, before Terry and Mai, there was this huge gap of time, right? There was this huge space where we just did not get a character for like a solid 5 months, right? And season 1, they remedied this by giving us costume number 3, right? Unfortunately, this year, we did not get that. We did not get any new costumes between that, right? Content-wise, this was a very light season, right? We got a couple of avatar costumes, right? We got the giant attack thing, right? Which is like a little boss battle thing, right? We got that with Akuma at the end of season 1. We got one with Bison this year. But that was about it, right? We didn't really get any meaningful content to hold us over within that time frame, which is really unfortunate. I do think this season did suffer from that, right? Because during that time, that 4 or 5 months, people were using that time to go back and play Street Fighter V. And that's when that whole discussion popped up, is Street Fighter V better than Street Fighter 6? That is because there was no content coming to the game. So it gave people, in their negativity, it gave people a chance to go and compare this game to the previous one, right? Like I said, that is unfortunate. I do think it loses points for that. However, after Mai, we got the final character of season 3. That character being Elena, right? And Elena, she just dropped recently, and the consensus is that she's not that good. But she's not bad, though. Right, Elena is a very interesting character because historically, Elena, she's been okay, and then she was like broken in Street Fighter 4, right? She had the healing super, it completely it murdered what was left of Street Fighter 4, right? People hated Elena because of that. That's not even an issue in this game, right? Her healing is tied to her level 2, but it only heals like, I don't know, the amount that a grab would do, right? So it's barely even a factor. You know what I mean? But gameplay wise, Elena, she plays like Elena to an extent, right? She's a very defensive button Z character, right? As Elena usually is. However, they gave Elena this new move. It's like a roll where she rolls on the ground towards the opponent, right? And this gives her, it gives her some spice. You know what I mean? She has an overhead out of this roll, right? It gives her a lot of momentum that usually Elena doesn't really carry as a character, right? And it makes her really interesting, right? So it turns her from this really defensive, mid-range button-y character, keeping people out with her, her long-range kick buttons. Now she's this character that can do that, and then capitalize on your mistake and roll in, hit you with an overhead target combo, right? Cancel the target combo, right? Really interesting. Right, really interesting. A lot of pros are kind of dropping her right now because she requires some brain power, right? Which I think is really cool because, like, I feel like the past, 3 characters, Terry, Mai, and Bison, like, Mai, she had some interesting tools there, but her really good stuff was just, the obvious, you know what I mean? Throw the fan out, bounce the fan, drive rush in, you know what I mean? So with Elena, they gave us a really technical, a character that requires us to actually think and anticipate what our opponent is doing, right? Playing Elena, I forget who said this, but it's like a dance, right? Which is very apt for Elena as a character. So, that is the end of Season 2. Okay, Elena was the final character. All in all, I think I would give Season 2 a B+, right? And listen, hey, everybody relax. Everybody relax. I give it a B+ because it was a solid season. It really was. It's just that span of time in the middle where we just didn't get anything at all, right? And we got this the initial reveal for season 2, it was really strong, right? Just the hype of getting those 2 guest characters. But I feel like the 2 guest characters cheapen the hype of having a guest character in a weird way. Does that make any sense, or am I crazy? Anyway, guys, let me know in the comment section below. Am I tripping right now? I would give it a B+. If I'm being generous, an A-. But I also don't think, I don't know, dude. I don't think Bison returning from the dead hit the way Capcom thought it was going to hit. I'm not sure, man. Let me know in the comment section below. What do you guys think? I am curious. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one.